Hey everybody, Chris here. Thanks for downloading this episode of Fortune Comic News. Just a quick reminder, if you want to go that extra mile, go to patreon.com/Fortune Comic News where you can get the amazing Mike and that guy Chris show. $4 a month, that's 4 episodes, $4, that's $1 an episode. That's awesome. More content from us, and we appreciate you for doing it. Also, at $2 a month, you can get the Bat Friends podcast 3 days earlier than everybody else. That means you can be ahead of everybody on that one. But if you don't want to, that's fine. We still appreciate you listening. And if you could, go to your iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use, give us a 5-star review and leave us a review. It means so much to us. We appreciate everybody for listening, for reviewing, and all that. So I won't take any more of your time. On to the show. Everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 147. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside not a champion, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, you can't just say the host, you have to say the Two Kings Comics FFL champion, Chris. That's it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, we are talking to a fantasy football league champion, all right? So bow in his presence.
You can refer to me throughout 2020 as the champ.
Yep. He's got his trophy on display. I did not. I came in third place, which doesn't really count for anything in fantasy football. So look at that trophy, man. That is something, I tell you.
That's it's
what is it? What is that guy sitting there doing? Is that a laptop?
Yeah, he's on a laptop. He's got his helmet on.
Oh, that's awesome. It's the guy sitting with a football helmet, but he's on a laptop because it's fantasy football, folks.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank all the players and
for doing all the hard work.
Of course, God for giving me this championship, and you know, all the fans out there. No,
fans of football. We do not have an interview this week. We're probably going to have somewhat of a short episode because Chris has to go watch his glorious Eagles go play a Super Bowl playoffs match.
Yes.
Against who are they playing? I'm kind of
Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks coming to Philly.
Yeah.
So
coming to Philly. So they got home territory, home field advantage. Let's see if they win. Will Philly destroy their own city? Probably. We've got
the quote unquote best quarterback in the NFL against the practice squad of the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't know. I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, remember when the Seahawks were 7-9 and won a playoff game at home? Remember that? Yeah, everyone remembers that.
Yeah. But anyways, this is not a football podcast. I'm sure there's thousands of those. This is a comic book podcast. So let's talk about the lack thereof news we have this week. And comics. Actually, really quick, I know I'm a little behind schedule, dude. So Netflix pumping out shows. They pumped out Messiah this weekend. I don't know if you saw that on there. No. And they also pumped out Dracula. So Messiah, it almost looks like Mark Millar's American Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Where like this guy shows up and he says he's the son of God, so it's pretty interesting. And then Dracula is obviously about Dracula, but it's from the same creators as Sherlock. So like, man, Netflix is just pumping stuff out. And then I'm finished with I finished the first season of Mindhunter this week, which is really good.
They also pumped out a documentary about Kevin Hart.
Oh.
Called Kevin Hart Don't Fuck This Up. And it's an interesting show. They premise it around the whole, remember the scandal he had with the Oscars?
Not really, but continue.
Okay, well, so he had a scandal with the Oscars where he was given the Oscar hosting job, and then some old tweets popped up, and
okay, yep.
And so they kind of premised the first episode of like, that's what this is all about. But when you really get into it, it's about him and not only his life, but he goes, every episode is a different time in his life within his like professional life where he's really fucked up, and then how he goes about learning and growing from that experience. It's a really great documentary just for anybody that you don't have to be a Kevin Hart fan, I don't believe. It's just a great, like, this is how people mess up in life, and the goal of it is to grow and become better because of it. So I really enjoy. I got sucked into that like one night. It's like 4 episodes.
Oh man, yeah, Mindhunter is really good. Obviously, you've already watched all of it, right?
I've never even heard of the show.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. It's a David Fincher directed, so it's beautifully shot. But it's there's 2 seasons now, and it's about. I thought you had seen it because they actually, it's a show about how the FBI started their psychological investigation unit where they look into serial killers.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now.
But pretty sure like by the end of pretty much by the end of the first season, they coined the term serial killer. So like, this is where it all came from. And it's crazy. Like, they talked to Ed Kemper and all these like famous serial killers that I had no idea who they were. And I actually went back and watched their real interviews, and they're pretty much, they take the same script from the interviews with those people to like the actors that are playing those people. It's pretty unnerving how creepy those people are. Yeah,
I've said, I think in the past when the show came out, but there's a show called I Am a Killer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, if you want to have fucking nightmares for the rest of your life, like, these are people who are convicted killers, and it's different ends of the spectrum where like some of them are just like, yeah, like I did it and I would do it again. Like, let me out, I'll do it again. And people who like show remorse and this and that, but it gets you into the mind of people like that. It's just like, holy shit. Like,
yeah,
I can't believe that kind of person exists in this world.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was a really good show. But speaking of really good shows, Mandalorian season 2 announced fall 2020. Round of applause for that show because it's so friggin' good.
Pretty obvious one there, right?
You can't. There's 2 things I've learned in the Star Wars franchise. You won't die from a crashed TIE fighter.
Correct. They got really great safety features.
Yeah,
airbags all around.
Kylo Ren crashes it, doesn't die. This the Inquisitor dude in the show crashes it, doesn't die. And you can't have a lightsaber / darksaber reveal without giving us a sequel. Pretty much.
Yeah. So I guess we could jump right into the last episode because we didn't talk about it last week.
Oh, we haven't talked about it? All right. Well,
No.
Spoilers for the Mandalorian last episode. Whatever. It's been 2 weeks. Shut up about it. Where do we begin?
Well, I want to begin with a tweet that Donnie Cates put out. So we all, if we've watched it, everybody's freaking out about the scene where it's the droid on the speeder bike with Baby Yoda.
Yep.
Donnie Cates put up a side-by-side of that image and then an image from his Ghost Rider series where it's Cosmic Ghost Rider holding baby Thanos in the same position.
Oh, really? Huh. Is it a coincidence, I wonder?
I wonder.
Was he upset about it, or was he like, this is funny?
No, this is funny, yeah.
Okay.
But I think a good place to start is like, it was an action-packed episode of taking place right after the last one where they're stuck in this cantina.
Yeah.
And they have to find their way out, and through various methods they find it.
You missed the best part of the show was the 2 speeder troopers talking to each other. Like, they're like, so they actually have Baby Yoda captured, and whatever he is, I don't know if he's a Grand Moff or Inquisitor. I think he's an Inquisitor, right? Is like, they radio to the stormtroopers up ahead. Hey, we got him. He's like, oh, give him a minute. He just killed someone to make a point. Like, why does he always got to do that? And then they like, I guess one of the guys in the helmet is a famous comedian or something like that. I don't know his name, but it was just a conversation of like for like 5 minutes of, are they doing the right thing? So
the whole Twitter controversy going on with that right now, right?
Oh no, what's going on with that?
So people are really mad at this comedian because they smack Baby Yoda a bunch of times.
Oh. But I mean, it's not real. Do people know that?
I don't think people do.
Oh, don't tell
Don't tell anybody.
But yeah, that was like messed up that they're like hitting Baby Yoda, but it was also kind of comical at the same time. Like,
yeah, that sequence was great.
Yeah, but I was like, I just want a whole show of just these two guys talking to each other. That would be amazing. And then like the Darksaber reveal at the end. So like, what is that Darksaber? Does that mean he's a Jedi or what?
So my understanding of the history of the Darksaber is that the Darksaber belongs to. There's only been one Mandalorian that's ever been a Jedi, and so that Darksaber is a lightsaber. That was his lightsaber, and then after he had passed, it had been passed down through Mandalorians. So whoever holds the Darksaber is basically the head honcho of the Mandalorians.
Oh, so this guy has it.
So that's going to be the big deal with next season, is that he has this Darksaber, and Mando, following the creed of the Mandalorian, is going to have some sort of existential crisis of, this is the guy that's in charge of my clan, but Baby Yoda's so cute, so...
Yeah, I know. That's going to be crazy. Yeah, what a great first season. So much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, such a great show.
So anyone that doesn't know, and this will kind of tie into the next news thing, but it comes from originally the Clone Wars cartoon, and then it is mentioned again in the Rebels cartoon.
Okay. So. That's a good segue for a Clone Wars cartoon. Season 7 has a release date, February 17th.
Have you watched Clone Wars?
No. I got to, though. I know I do.
Yeah, so what I tell everybody, first season, kind of rough. Second season gets better, but not great. Third's where I feel like it really kicks off and gets to be something special. So I know that's like a tough thing to get through because people, there's so much out there that's good, but I really like Clone Wars. Once it gets to that point, it gets really good. And a lot of like big things happen for Star Wars mythos in there too. So I'm super excited to get more Clone Wars and to get more Ahsoka Tano. So I can't wait. I'm down.
Yeah, and I know there's like an abridged version you could watch that like skips the droid episodes or a lot of the filler episodes.
There's like 2 lists out there because I looked it up because at one point I was going to do a Clone Wars podcast, and there is an abridged. There's also a proper timeline list where because a lot of the episodes are out of order, and you can actually go online and see like the actual timeline. So you get it from the earliest point of the Clone Wars to the latest and you have to jump around a lot throughout the seasons. It's strange.
Movie news, or stuff that we're not excited about. Another New Mutants trailer dropped. Man, this movie looks awful. The only thing we know about it being New Mutants is they say in the trailer, "What do you know about the mutants?" Dramatic music, and then
Marvel logo.
And then, Marvel logo, dramatic music, and then it turns into like a horror movie with a bunch of actors they've grabbed from other horror movies, like the kid from Stranger Things, the girl from The Witch, and I don't know, the other girl looked like Arya Stark. I don't know if it's actually her, but
it looks like her, yeah.
Yeah, which is like, hey, here's these faces, come watch your movie. It looks so, and it has a release date now to April 13th after being pushed back several times.
Yeah, being pushed back because I feel like Marvel really wanted to bury this thing, but somebody must talk to somebody and been like, we can make a little bit of money off of this.
They're not going to make much, I don't think.
I'll care about the mutants in cinema again when they join the MCU.
Yeah, pretty much. Just let Marvel take care of it.
Yeah.
This, anyways, I guess we'll get on to the comic book news because that's more exciting to me. Mark Miller has teased that he's begun to work on a 10-part spinoff to Jupiter's Legacy that him and Frank Quitely worked on together, titled Jupiter's Requiem. Awesome. Love that series. Love Frank Quitely. Haven't seen him doing a whole lot lately with anything. And yeah, I really liked that universe he created with the Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if this is Frank Quitely doing it, though, because they have done spin-offs without Frank Quitely. So.
That's true, yeah, yep. Jupiter's... there's another like prequel they did to Jupiter's Legacy.
Was it Jupiter's Circle or something like that?
Yeah, Jupiter's Circle. Yep. And the art in that was really good too. So I think it's a really interesting. It almost has like a Kingdom Come vibe to it. The first part of it does, with like the older heroes and the newer heroes.
Yeah, like the spinoff is very much like Golden Age comics, and then yeah, the Jupiter's Legacy is definitely Kingdom Come-ish, but
Civil War, Kingdom Come.
Yeah, so
kind of.
Yeah, I'm down. Usually when Mark Millar's name pops up, it's worth at least seeing what it's all about. So
for sure. 2 new books announced from Aftershock Comics. Aftershock, March 2020. The World War II time travel thriller, Artemis and Assassin #1 by Stephanie Phillips, represent Megan Hetrick and Francesca Fentinia and Lauren Affey. Sounds awesome. Time traveling World War II. Chris is there.
Yeah, so it hit previews this week, and yeah, it looks interesting and good for Stephanie.
Yeah.
Into the show. My cat is on top of my desk right now.
Oh man, I thought, yeah, that scared the crap out of me. Holy crap.
But yeah, friend of the show, and good for her. I look forward to checking out this book.
Yeah, good to see that she's getting more work. And then there's a libertarian-themed future sci-fi, Join the Future #1 by Zach Kaplan and Peter Kowalski.
I think that's right. Yeah, that's
it looks. Well, if you sound it out, it's Piotr, so it looks like Peter. I don't know. And Zach Kaplan represent good stuff.
Yeah, I like Zach Kaplan, does good work, and this is like the perfect. So all these cities have this foundation where everything you need is taken care of. You know, you don't need to work, you have food, you have healthcare, you have everything. But then all the small towns that are around it still cling on to, you know, the quote unquote what America is all about. The work for yourself, earn your way, blah blah. And it's all about a kid who enters into one of these cities and sees what it's all about because she grew up in one of these small towns. So it's an interesting little dynamic that he's going with there, and he does great sci-fi books. So let's check it out. Yeah,
it's almost like it gets sparked out of like the OK Boomer.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what way he takes it, because there's obviously a political bend here that he's trying to go for. Right. And I'll be interested to see which way he takes it. Is he, because it is solicited as like a libertarian themed book. So is it a libertarian themed book, or is it him showing his support for the more socialist side of things? It'll just be interesting to see as a story what he has to say about that.
Right. Yeah. Cool. And then I guess we'll just jump into what we're reading, what few books we had this week, because it was another slow week. I had 2 books, a whopping 2 books. I guess we'll just talk about Dial H for Hero. I think it was number 11. Crazy book. Basically, Miguel gets tricked by the operator, and we get more background of like who the operator is, and like how that he isn't a good person, I guess, and that when they're going to look for I think it's called the yellow dial, they go through like the multiverse. So it's like, it shows like Miguel traveling through the multiverse. We get to see a lot of the other Earths, and then they land on the Earth where, I can't remember the number of the Earth, but all the heroes are combined. So like Wonder Woman and Hawk Girl are like, so it's like Wonder Hawk is her name and stuff like that. And it's really cool. I think like Flash and Green Lantern are one hero, and like Cyborg and Aquaman are one hero or something like that. It's pretty awesome. But Miguel gets tricked and gets the yellow dial, so the operator's kind of like controlling him, and he says we have to find the final dial, which is the black dial, and he says it's on a place called Apocalypse. So now Miguel is kind of like under the control of the operator. He uses the yellow dial and apparently makes several hero copies of yourself. So like the next issue is kind of themed as like the reign of the Supermen, but it's like reign of the Super Miguel. So it's like all different iterations of the Superman from Reign of Superman, like Cyborg Superman, Red, Blue Superman, but it's all versions of the Miguel, Super Miguel. And they're going to go to Apocalypse. So basically he's taking like this army of Supermen to Apocalypse to get the last final black dial. And then we'll see what he's doing with all the dials, you know?
Gotta collect them all.
Gotta collect them all. It's been a great book, though, and seeing all the multiverse stuff is a lot of fun. And then I read Star Wars #1. I did it.
Hells yeah.
It takes place in between, right at the end of Empire Strikes Back, before Return of the Jedi. Now, this book does something interesting that we've never seen in the Star Wars cinematic universe, and I talk about this with people a lot, and this is a lot of, I have some friends that don't like the new trilogy, and the reason they don't like the new trilogy is like the way they treated Luke, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of, so when you look at Rey, okay, and then you look at Anakin, what did those two characters have? You got to see those characters, you know, do all the lightsaber stuff, pew pew, and fight things, but you also got to see those characters have an internal conflict of like that pull to the dark side with their emotions. You didn't really see that from Luke, especially in the new trilogy. I mean, Luke was kind of like, okay, I'm going to train, then go into hiding. We didn't see that internal conflict too much. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, yeah, your father was Vader, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't really harp on that so much, I don't think.
What a lot of critics of this new trilogy forget, or I think conveniently forget, is that there is a whole series of books where Luke is Palpatine's apprentice,
right?
Because he goes straight to the dark side. So Luke has always had a pull to the dark side.
But those are books.
Oh yeah, they're not comic books. Yeah,
I know,
and they're not canon anymore. But I'm just saying,
right.
like, it's not like this. It's not like this treatment of Luke came out of nowhere. Like he's always been this conflicted character whose father is the baddest man in the universe,
right?
And he's trying to do what's best, but he has a pull.
But as far, like, for me, I really liked the first issue just because, like, it's like, all right, we have this timeline between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and we kind of wondered, like, what could they do with the story? Obviously, you know, the whole main the B story, I guess, of like the Republic's in trouble, right? Or the rebels are in trouble. Well, they're always in trouble, but they're definitely in trouble now after the Empire Strikes Back. But also the fact that, okay, Luke wasn't just, you know, he got a new hand and it was all good, like we see in Return of the Jedi. Like he's kind of questioning at the end of the issue, should I be a Jedi? Will I be a Jedi? And he's reaching out for help, kind of like what Rey was doing, from looking for guidance from the past Jedi Masters, and nobody's talking to him. He's not getting any calls. Nobody's picking up his call. So I thought it was a really solid first issue. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I did too. It's it shows that inner conflict with Luke. We get an interesting look into now in this timeline, Vader knows who Luke is, and they've connected. So we can get that back and forth between them, where everybody wants to destroy the Millennium Falcon and kill Leia Organa, but Vader's very firm in that you can't do that because Luke is there and I need him.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So there's a great sequence of them like kind of saving the Rebel Alliance and flying off into whatnot. And then we also I talked about it 2 weeks ago, I believe, from the Empire Ascends issue, where we get Dameron's parents in it again.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a great kickoff issue, and it's just the Star Wars comics continuing to be great. So
the art is really good too.
Yeah,
I mean, written by Charles Soule, but the art by Jesus Saiz and R.B. Silva doing the covers. You look at the covers for like issue 2 and 3, and they're so cinematic. It's awesome. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, and there's also that interesting conflict inside of him which once again has been explored before, but now we're in a new canon, so we got to re-explore it. But that all these masters he's gone to train with, mm-hmm. he feels like they have lied to him.
Right.
And so he's asking himself, like, you told me that Vader killed my father. Vader tells me that he is my father. So someone's lying, and I know it's not Vader. So it was kind of it's that interesting conflict as well that we'll see throughout this book.
Cool. And that was all I had this week.
Real quick, I read Emperor Joker over the week. It's a strange, fun book. It takes place in Action Comics. Actually, this is a book that I've heard of in the past and never actually taken the time to read until recently. But so it's basically Mixoplex decides he's getting bored, so he wants to give Joker some of his power. And when that happens, he accidentally gives Joker almost all of his power. And Joker uses that to recreate the universe in his image. So all the heroes are villains, all the villains are heroes, and he's the emperor of everything. And Superman kind of wakes up from this false world and realizes, like, this isn't right, and tries to bring all the heroes together. He ends up being able to wake up Superboy and Supergirl, and then eventually the rest of the Justice League. But you get the Justice League is Aquaman, who is literally top half fish, bottom half man. Who can't swim, which is kind of funny. Wonder Woman is a extremely sexist version of herself, where all she wants to do is be a homemaker and bake things. And Green Lantern is Yellow Lantern, but he's one of those yellow paper lanterns.
Oh, wow, like the Japanese lanterns?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Martian Manhunter is basically the Marvin the Martian from Looney Tunes. And who am I missing in that? And then we find out that Batman is dead. So Superman goes out, tries to get them to help him. They don't want to help him. He ends up finding Batman in his grave. And then comic book stuff, Batman lives again. They go and fight the Joker. It's a fun series. It's a lot of like this Justice League versus the Justice League of Jokers making, which is like Bizarro and all the other villains. So that was a lot of fun. I'd recommend that. It's a good, like, light, fun read.
Cool.
Daredevil number 16, really good. It's just Daredevil's training. He doesn't want to be Daredevil, but he wants to be Daredevil. And it's him trying to figure out who he can be in this new world. And how what he's trying to do is aligning a lot more with the Kingpin, Mayor Kingpin, and moving forward. So, great book by Chuck Sardisky. Batman Beyond 39 is, so Terry his mind's been wiped. He doesn't know who he is. So there's this new Batwoman that's taken the suit from him. We don't know who it is. And she ends up defeating one of Terry's old villains. And everybody, it's basically a mystery of like, who is it? We're going to find out next issue. Batman Beyond, really good. Dan Jurgens, if you like Batman Beyond stuff. Avengers Defenders Tarot. This book takes place in like 60s, 70s continuity. So we get like, it's the original Avengers with Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, and actually the second generation Avengers, but and all of them. And then the original Defenders with old school Namor and Hulk and Doctor Strange and so on. And they end up finding out that there's a villain who's gathered this mystical energy to be able to take control of people. And he uses that to take control of the Avengers and is slowly trying to do the same to the Avengers. A fun book and just old continuity. I just love the Defenders team up, so having them together is cool. And then there's this whole weird like backstory of Namor's remembering things from World War II that may or may not have happened. And one of the memories is of him fighting alongside Cap, and Cap turns into the Hulk. And so we don't know if that's a hallucination he's having or if there's some other wackiness going on there.
Cool.
And then I got to end with Thor number 1 by Donnie Cates and Nick Klein. This was going to be a tough book because the old Thor run was so good that it was going to be hard to live up to it. And I think that Donnie Cates did a great job here. So we get Thor is the All-Father, getting kind of bored. He rebuilt Asgard in his own image. He's trying to be a leader to his people, but he misses being a superhero and being, the guy out there doing the thing. And so while he's trying to figure everything out and talk to Loki, he ends up talking to Loki about his problems. And I'm reminded, because I forgot this happened in a random issue, that Loki is now the king of the Frost Giants. They get into a whole back and forth about the responsibilities of their newfound kingship. Mm-hmm. And Galactus appears. And basically just destroys like half of Asgard just by landing.
Of course he does.
Because he's a giant person in a purple miniskirt.
I guess he has to step somewhere.
So Galactus shows up and he ends up telling Thor that like he's not here to devour, he's not here to conquer. He's here because anyone that doesn't know Marvel history, Galactus was a normal person from a previous universe that got destroyed. He's the sole survivor of that universe. When he survived, he was able to absorb the power cosmic from his universe and came over to ours to become Galactus. So I tell you that because he ends up telling Thor that the same thing that happened to his universe, this Black Winter, is coming for our universe now.
Black Winter is coming.
Yes. So,
okay, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, if we remember the original solicitation of like Donnie saying like I want this to sound like most Thor should sound like Led Zeppelin. I want this to sound like Norwegian black metal. Mm-hmm. Black Winter. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So Thor tells him this and then says, so Thor gathers all of his ex heralds and talks to them like, this is coming. We need to do something. And Silver Surfer appears and says, well, I have these Earths that I've been keeping from Galactus because if he was to consume them, he would become too powerful for any of us to control. So the only way for us to beat this is for him to consume all 4 of them. Which then leads to Thor's plan of like, I'll send my armada out, we'll take everyone off of these planets, and then he can consume them so that we can fight this Black Winter coming. And as they're about to leave, right in the last page, Galactus says, but I need a herald, and zaps Thor, and he becomes the Herald of Galactus.
Oh, he got him.
So, really great first issue. Like I said, it was going to be hard to live up to what Jason Aaron's done, but one issue in, he did a great job of it, so I'm down for more.
Nice. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, Mike, where can people find you on that internet?
They can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
Oh, they can find the show at fortresscomicnews.com, where everything we do is right there on that handy-dandy website. You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter. Remember, everybody, 5-star reviews, like, subscribe, share on the YouTubes, and look out for things to come. 2020 just recorded a Let's Play of the KFC dating simulator with Bat Friends co-host Joe. And,
nice.
Yeah, so I'm working on that right now. And a few other things that are coming down the pipeline. So look forward to that. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/ForgeComicNews. Thanks for listening, everybody, to this really short episode.
Goodbye.